Our guest this morning is a well-known persona up and down the country, talking about Senator Shehu Sani, politician, human rights activist, author, playwright, and he's in our Abuja studio. Once again, Senator Shehu Sani, a fine morning to you.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
Indeed, our pleasure. Well, I did say a fine morning. It is fine because in Lagos, it's a bit damp. It's a bit damp in Lagos. I don't know what the situation is in Abuja, but your picture is looking marvelous. So our subject matter today is assessing President Tinubu's stewardship so far. Interestingly, this is coming on the heels of his recent outing to the United Nations General Assembly, but there are a number of other indices that we can look at, ranges from the economy to diplomacy, especially, against the backdrop of his election as the president of ECOWAS in July 2023. All of that, wooing Nigerians in diaspora, especially in America, where he's just coming back from, wooing them back home, policies, and give me your overview of the president's stewardship so far, how you would score it, how you would judge it.
Thank you for having me once again in your program. Well, the ideal way to assess and analyze or appraise the achievement of President Tinubu is to, first of all, study what he has promised to do and put it in line with what he has been able to achieve, and also take cognizance of the time. If I may not be wrong, I have read somewhere that he has unfolded a 10-point agenda as a policy direction
Yes.
of his administration. Yes. And in that 10-point agenda, he has touched on almost all areas of development and progress which every country needs. If I can go through them from my own little understanding, he said he is going to address the issue of jobs creation. And secondly, he made reference to manufacture and industry. Thirdly, he made reference to digital economy. Fourthly, he also touched on agriculture. And there is health and education, which he all puts them under one stanza. And then he made reference to export of goods, more exports than emphasized on exports than on import. And then he also harped on modernizing our infrastructure. And then he also touched on security of the country, and also giving poor people the empowerment and the economic opportunity they need. And if I may not be wrong, these are the issues which he has emphasized.
Indeed.
In his 10-point agenda.
You pretty much captured it all.
And secondly, now you assess what he has been able to achieve. Well, it is not fair within 100 days, perhaps, to see that you expect him to have achieved all the 10 points agenda. But now it's also good to assess areas which he has been able to achieve and those whom he has not been able to perform very well. In the areas which he has been able to make progress is the fact that his government has been able to take bold decisions that was much impossible for previous administration in the last 4 decades to take. And that is the removal of subsidy. I have always been an advocate of subsidy for the fact that it's the only way which the poor can benefit, and also the only way in which the ordinary persons can have some form of relief as far as the cost of living is concerned. But it became necessary for some of us to change our views over the fact that this subsidy matter, we're trying to see how we can find a different way of addressing it, because under the Babangida administration, it was in millions, then it moved to billions, then hundreds of billions, and at a time under Buhari administration, it reached to trillions, and then we were then borrowing money to pay subsidy. So there are a second school of thought that prefer that if we can get our refineries functioning, and then swap from petrol to gas, at least these subsidy issues will be addressed in a different way. And then our economy also couldn't sustain it, and the fact that we keep on paying and then the nation keep bleeding. So that is a decision which he has taken. The fear of removal of subsidy in the past, or the fact that there will be rising cost of living, which of course it has now happened, and then there is also the fear of uprising or revolt nationally against the established order, which we have not seen much from in the last few weeks. So that is a bold decision which he has made. Secondly, the issue of our Naira. It's unfortunate that as of this morning, I have read that Naira is almost tallying to, $1 is tallying to 1,000 Naira. But what led us to this position is under the Buhari administration, with MFL being the CBN governor, we are not being realistic with ourselves. We read every month that hundreds of millions of dollars are being pumped in the name of defending the Naira, which I believe that such money could be channeled to development, to infrastructure, to other areas of our needs, which of course is another bold decision that has been taken. And then for the fact that there are issues which people are raising as far as the country is concerned, but fundamentally I believe that Nigeria is gaining its ground back as a leader regionally and continentally. The speech which he made in the United Nations has raised the hopes of our country, and also gave the world a different image of leaders that can stand up for Africa. He talked about terrorism, the defense of our protection of our economy and resources in Africa. And that is how Nigerian leaders are supposed to speak. You don't simply speak as a president of Nigeria. Nigeria has been seen to be an African leader, and as such you should speak with that Pan-Africanist authority, which he has been able to do that. And then I have also seen promises of reforms and intervention in areas of infrastructure. Somewhere I read where the Minister of Works, Umahi, said he has inherited over 14 trillion debt as of infrastructure, and they have been able to, within the last 3 months, paid about 4 trillion to contractors, and that there are attempts to even cancel contracts that have lasted for over 2 decades. That's achievement. And in the areas of security, even though today we have woke up to the fact that terrorists attacked a university in Zamfara and kidnapped female students, but generally, if you look at it, the appointment of Ribadu as National Security Advisor has brought some hope. Some few months ago, there were threats that terrorists are about to attack a Kaduna-Abuja train line, which of course is something, it's a route which many of us use. But I was impressed to see that security measures were taken, and then confidence was restored on people who uses that train services. And then you can also see harmony within security agencies. The skepticism that some people had that for the first time we are having a National Security Advisor who is not a military personnel or retired military officer. Now is being reduced to the barest minimum, to the fact that we have seen that there is a proactive engagement by security agencies and serious coordination happening, which of course is a blessing to our country. And I've also seen an attempt, hands of friendship have been extended by many people to others who were aggrieved in terms of trying to find solutions to the problems of this country. That is the achievement. And the failures has to do, or the challenges or the failures has to do with the fact that there is still a lot of bitterness in the country as of regards to what has happened in the 2023 elections, and the fact that the removal of subsidy has caused untold hardships in the lives of people. Many people can afford even 1 square meal, if you can use that word. Many people can't pay the school fees of their children, and people are having difficulty to buy food and to live their lives. And I believe that the 5 billion that was sent to governors to share, there were governors that have done very well by reaching out to people and providing palliatives. There are many of them also who I actually don't know. You only hear about the palliatives. So in that respect, the president need to know that people are suffering and that the anger is gathering pace, and that all that has to be done must be done to address this problem before it generates into something different.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Senator Shehu Sani. As you said, and as is generally known, well, it's a bit challenging to look at just the first 100 or so days. There's time. But, you know, this has been a fine roadmap for us to come and talk about. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back very shortly. We'll also include calls for other people to also add to the pot, as it were. Stay with us, please.
Marks, I've tried everything. Nivea Lumina 630 works from day one with visible results in just 2 weeks and 71% dark marks reduction in 12. Join the 1 million women already using Lumina 630.
Okay, welcome back. Our guest is Senator Shehu Sani, politician, author, human rights activist, and playwright. Actually, someone should have put next to each other, but you get the general thing. Well, thank you very much, Senator Sani, for giving us that overview. It looks like, you know, you're saying that, yep, some achievements have been made, but there's a heck of a lot more that indeed is going to have to be addressed vigorously. Especially about the social integrity in the land. You're speaking about challenges that have come from policies, especially the policy of the removal of fuel subsidies. But as you said, it was a bold decision. Tinubu echoed that, you know, in the U.S. just a couple of days ago when he said, yep, these are tough decisions, and there are hardships that he was not unaware of. He's always said that, even before going to the U.S., but that these would be addressed. We've been having his government, his spokespeople have put out the impression that there simply was nowhere else for us to go. And people are saying, be that as it is, how do we go about it? You also referenced the dollar-naira situation, almost about 1,000 now. To the naira. None of this was well, experts were projecting that it would get to there. So here we are. Tinubu himself has said in the past that there are problems, but then that is what they came to do. That is their job, and that they can't really be wringing their hands over the problems. That is indeed what they have been called to do. He's put together a cabinet that hopefully will be addressing it. Some of it was quite innovative. We've been hearing about the blue economy now and that kind of a thing. So we hope that this all of this will begin to yield fruit very shortly. But I suppose the thing that you've said that has also been said is that, look, this thing needs time. We don't have all the time in the world, so it's not a matter of that time. You know, critics also know that it's not a matter of endless time, but still time is needed. And it doesn't look at the moment as if things are getting easier for the people. So that is, I expect, where the challenge is. That having the people behind you, much as they realize that we've heard what you say when you say that there was no option for us but to go the way that it has gone, for instance, in case of the removal of fuel subsidy. So what would you say when you look at that? Because you've pinpointed the challenge, the problem, and that's what the poor masses are suffering now. But there was no option for us. You said it's possible that it might have been done in a different way. Would you care to share what? Because you yourself admitted that governments have been running away from, biting the bullet. But then Tinubu has come along and boldly done it. You're saying that there might have been other ways to achieve this with less pain. What would you have recommended?
First of all, from my understanding of the philosophical track of this administration, it is all evidently clear that it is towing the liberal path of economic reforms. And there is no better reference to the path they have taken than going back memory lane and see the reforms which the former British Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, did for Britain when she took over in the early 80s. He, for one, in this country, inherited an economy that was badly destroyed and a nation that is almost losing hope as of the future. Mm-hmm. And many things were done wrongly. And he came with his own idea in the sense that he wants to do things differently. But in whatever liberal economic reforms you are undertaking, you also have to take cognizance of the economic realities of Nigeria as of the level of poverty and also the consequences, the unintended consequences that may happen. For example, having known that a new government is coming into power on May 29, and the fact that the previous administration has not made provisions for subsidy. The first thing that's supposed to have been done within the period of waiting before the handover is to come out with a plan said that if we are not going to have subsidy, there is going to be an attendant socio-economic crisis. And now these are the strategies that we need to take in order to ameliorate the suffering which the common people are about to face.
Okay.
But the subsidy was removed, and now the thought of addressing the consequences of subsidy now came in, which of course came in various forms. Should we do cash transfer? Should we buy food and share to the people? Who should be responsible for sharing this? But in all honesty, is that our economy cannot sustain more subsidy, which is a bold decision which they have taken. And
so the shock.
You ask what should be done differently.
I beg your pardon, Senator. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. You've just spoken about the shock of it all because there wasn't any preparation. And indeed, I'll let you continue there. But in the meantime, Mazi Okoroafo has called in from Arochukwu. Let me add him to the conversation as well. Good morning, Mazi Okoroafo.
Good morning, Yori. Good morning, Nigeria. Mazi Okoroafo. Now that the president has, that after 100 days in office, they have shown the world that we have men and women. We have what we call resources. We have what we can offer for the whole world, at least. If at the end, when the president comes back and start implementing all these business, educational aspect of this and take back to Nigeria, you see, Nigeria will now be moving to another level. Because we have a lot in this country. It needs somebody to package it and do what, bring it. That's what the president is doing now. At least at the end of the day, everybody will benefit. People are still complaining substitutes, but the question is a management. But the thing is this, we pray that all those people that follow the president outside for these conferences are there, when they come back, especially this United Nations conference, this association, when they come back, all the ministers, their department, the agencies under them, they should do what? Inject all those things they have gathered. A situation whereby we gather all these things and come back now, one person just pack it and put it inside the drawer, it doesn't make sense. So I hope the president and people that do that to make sure that everybody, something can have it away for all these conferences, and when they come back, the agency must be there. Because at the end of the day, what are we going to get? Employment will be created. Insecurity, at least better. At least the president should also add to US. All these jets they give to Ukraine, they should try and give us at least 5. Or let's talk about 5. Because Ukraine have given the move at 20 or 30 of it. For Nigeria, we need only 5 or 10 to fight our own insecurity inside this country. It will help us because the military in Nigeria, as well as they are there to do the support, the truth that they don't have all these sophisticated equipment we use in fighting insecurity. Because when you see that, when you watch Ukraine and watch Russia, what do you see? The type of missiles they send and the type of mission they use, it's no longer all this carry bicycle or carry Okada and type of thing. No. Everything is now digital, both knowledge, digital, and our manufacturers, they see that the CBN should look into it that the dollars, they should make sure that the exchange is balanced very well.
Okay.
So that when business start coming, the dollars rate will be very low so that people...
Well, thank you very much for calling in, Mazi Okorafo. Senator Sonny, Mazi there, his attitude, as much as I could glean from, his contribution was that, look, we had to bite the bullet. And, yep, there is a fallout. And I get the impression that perhaps other people are also feeling that, yes, we are not exactly in a very rosy place now, but we have started this and there's no going back. In fact, as you recall, there was some talk, Senator, about, like Kenya was reported to have done, could we roll this back a bit, this whole fuel subsidy removal thing, as Kenya decided that, well, I think we're going to have to scale it back a bit. But our authorities here, the government of Tinubu has said that, no, that might have been right for them, but that's not on the cards for us.
Well, what we need to appreciate is that for the first time in many years, we now have a president who is ready to be criticized and be blamed. And he has repeatedly said, we know this job is not going to be easy, and I applied for this job, and I got this job, and I will do this job. So now you have a president who is owning up to his own duties and responsibility, and ready also to take the bullets. Having said that, the removal of subsidy is an idea whose time has come, for the very fact that we don't have the resources to be paying subsidy to anonymous people who are neither in the areas of production nor in the areas of refining petroleum product. But this is not sustainable. I'm so glad that the GMD of NNPCL has repeatedly made some points clear as of the state of our oil industry and also what they are trying to do concerning reviving the refineries. As long as we will continue to import this product, we are not going to import it with Naira, we are going to import it with dollar. And dollar will have to dollar is floating the Naira against the dollar. It's something that will continue to fluctuate the value of our currency, and that will affect the prices. But in this sense, all what I'm saying from the beginning is that the measures to be taken to address the consequences of this removal should be one that will address the cost of living. That is very important. When I said reforms are necessary and that we can't dodge away from the consequences, but we also have to take cognizance of the state of our own people. For example, if you want to give university autonomy, many of the children of poor people are the one attending these public universities. And then you increase tuition fees from 40,000 to 100 or 200 and something thousand. Where will they go and get the money to pay? But if you now take cognizance of that and provide alternative sources to which it will be easier for them to get money to which they will settle their tuition fees, that one will be far better. So in whatever reform we are going to take,
sorry to interrupt you again.
Cognizance of, yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you again, but you do know the nature of our program. Mr. George, good morning to you, sir. Did we lose Mr. Did we lose Mr.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please continue, please.
Okay. I greet the senator.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, I want to commend the Senator Sani for one thing. I've been reading some of his publications in the social media. He is the only critic who critiques a situation and provides solutions. Even the ones who call themselves opposition parties, they only condemn governance. They don't offer alternative solutions. But anytime he writes, we see him providing solution to a problem he is diagnosing. That is the way to critique a situation. So I commend him for that. But coming to the issue of preparations for the removal of subsidy, he mentioned that something should have been done or announced prior to swearing in. You know, if it is a government that has not been sworn in, we look as if it is taking over from when there is a sitting president. If you come out to announce that when we come in, this is the way and this is the way, as if you have started governance. I think the president was being cautious at that time. And you know, there was a little gap between the swearing in and when ministers came in to execute some of these policies. That gap took about 6 weeks or so. So it's not as if that little gap is what we are feeling. I'm happy the way he's saying things. We need people like this that can make the government to stand up and do what is needed, not because he wants to gain anything from it. So I'm just commending his initiative and style. I also want to appeal to him that he should forgive Governor El-Rufai for whatever he must have done to him. Because I used to see his comments about El-Rufai. I don't know what the differences are, but whatever it is.
I wish I could get a reaction shot of Senator Shehu. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. So what I was saying is that whatever the offense is, I want him to kindly forgive him, and we need the two of them in this country for the progress and the unity of our country, Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. Senator Sani, I'm going to have to take a break now, but I'll be right back for you to relate to some of those things that have been said. Stay with us, please.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories. Without the news from every perspective. Covering every human angle. I am Veronica, bringing you the news you would want to watch.
Lagos is the most visited state in Africa as the 5th largest economy on the continent. Covering the state and its government is no mean feat, it's a busy beat. We go beyond the curtain of tapes to traveling far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos state government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Okay, welcome back. Assessing President Tinubu's stewardship so far, and our guest this time, I imagine a number of people could do it, but this time we're very happy to have Senator Shehu Sani with us, and he's been giving us his impressions. Among the other things that you said earlier when you first went forth was that there's still the problem of if we're importing fuel, we're not actually saving anything. But that reminded me that I think I heard Aliko Dangote say that their plans are at a very, very advanced stage for NNPC to supply crude to his refinery. All of this before the end of the year. I'm not sure if it was next month or November that he was talking about. So hopefully that should ameliorate the situation that you had noted, that in as long as we continue to do what we're doing, then it's not going to get any better. But I just said that. Would you, somebody has called in from Magodo. I didn't hear the name. Fumi calling in from Magodo. Good morning to you, Fumi.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, ma'am.
And Senator
Sani.
Good morning. Yes, I think, well, so far, the government is commended for the bold steps it has taken. But you see, reform must have a human face. And I'm saying that, for instance, in the north, the total closure of the borders is aggravating poverty. We can still act as ECOWAS chairman, our president as he is, but, not impoverish our own people with total closure of that border. That's the first thing. It needs to be reviewed. Even if it is going to be opened once in a week or twice in a week, so that, there can be economic interaction for the benefit of the people of Nigeria and Niger. Then the issue of dollar. This is very, very worrisome. We need to ask ourselves, what happened? Where did the dollar go? How did it all disappear? Good enough, Mr. President has said he will not lament, he will tackle the problem. So we need to find out what happened. I remember when we had a recession under President Jonathan, it got as, under Buhari rather, pardon me, it got as high as 900 plus. But after we came out of the recession, it came back, to a reasonable rate. So I think these two issues, we just pray that God gives our president and his team the wisdom to handle it. Otherwise, it's already making the government to be a bit unpopular. And that's not in the best interest of every one of us. And as for Senator Sani, you may not know how much of you I know. Senator Uba, who is the governor of Kaduna, was a useful friend. So whatever differences you guys had with El-Rufai, I think you should remember the days you had good friendship with Uba Sani and moved Kaduna State forward. I'm sure you know I...
All right. Now that you've spoken, I do realize that it's not just Fumi, it's Comrade Fumi. I won't say anything more than that. Senator, perhaps you'd like to react. Take it from anywhere you want. Well, there are a number of points. But two people now have spoken about wanting you to iron out the creases between you and El-Rufai.
Let me specifically focus on the issue which we are here to discuss. I'm particularly interested when you raise the issue about importation of petrol and also finding solutions through private refineries and whatever. Well, I must tell you the fact that President Tinubu is still being magnanimous in terms of protecting the rotten legacy which he has inherited under Buhari administration. Nigeria is in a terrible economic mess. The last government should be grateful that the person who took over power they are not an opposition party, or also is not someone that they wished could have taken over from their party. Because everyone knows it that Tinubu was not their favorite. It's just that he happens to be there by God that has made him to be where he is, and also by his own strategy in the party. The amount of debt they have left behind, almost about 77 trillion. And from what I've learned is that steps have been taken, almost about $1.5 or $2 billion has been settled in the last 3 months. If we are to go along this path, I know that we are on the right path towards addressing the pile of debt which the last administration has left behind. On the issue of petroleum importation, this is the first time we have had a group managing director of NNPCL who is against subsidy and also being fought by the subsidy cartel. Because subsidy is a multi-billion-dollar business in Nigeria. And what will be so difficult for you to find out that it's difficult for you to have anybody who will come to national TV and say, I'm the one benefiting from this subsidy. They are all crammed under what they call oil marketers, and they are so anonymous. And these are people who are making a hell of money from our national treasury. And now effort has been made to address this problem. It's commendable. All that I've said is that there should be more effort in addressing problems of poverty in Nigeria. And this idea of buying food and sharing to people, it's a good step, but it's a short-term measure. Because if you share 5 billion naira food for them and they eat it within 2 to 3 days, you also have to give another 5 billion and then another 5 billion. Then how is that sustainable if you continue using public funds to buy food and share to people? So invest in agriculture so that people can produce food and prices will go down and people will benefit from it. And I'm so happy it's part of the agenda, but there should be more emphasis on that. And the emphasis should be different from what we have inherited. Money was shared under NISAL, money was shared under COVID-19, money was shared under Anko Borrower program with the promise that it will spark the rise of medium and small-scale industry and whatever. We ended up without medium industry, without small-scale, and without even the money being traced to anybody. They have already shared all the money. So this is the kind of economy, and I have listened to what the economy minister, the Minister of Finance said, that they inherited a terrible economy, and it's a fact on the ground. But I believe that the camaraderie relationship that exists, because it's still the same party that took over from the same party, so there is some form of courtesy. But let us be frank with ourselves, that economic reforms need bold measures, and there will be consequences, but the president must ensure that those people who don't voted for him, the masses, don't suffer. And that is all we are saying. Don't just say, wake up because of reforms. You want to sell government colleges, you want to give university, give consideration to poor people who are utilizing such services. This is all we are saying. But the issue of Kaduna State and Nasir El-Rufai, I believe that nothing is impossible. He is the one who started the fight. And I told him that he is used to fighting people, but he is not used to fighting a person like me because I'm a marathoner. I am not a politician. I'm an activist. So we have all been groomed all our lives to fight for a cause. And that is why I told him that this is going to be a very long fight. He is from the establishment and not from the establishment. And it's not about personal thing. He is not in government now, and I'm not in government. And I hope that that will at least give him the idea of that power is transient and he is now out of government. So, but for all purpose, whatever will be done to ensure that our state and our country benefits from the new phase of reforms and also the new phase of our democracy in our country. And so that is what can say about that.
Thank you very much for saying what you did say as a statesman. Mr. Hassan in Abuja, in Kaduna, I beg your pardon. Mr. Hassan, good morning.
Good morning.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning to Senator Shosani.
Yes, please continue, sir.
So what I just like to talk about is the issue where distinguished senator made mention that the present administration should have actually made their own projection before coming into power. That was before handing over. You know, I am an IT person, and as an IT person, most things you don't know how they're going to be until you implement the issues. So the issue of subsidy removal, all projections can only be made. However, having the actual sense of how it's going to be, how the problems, the lapses, and everything is going to be, you only get to have the actual sense of it when you are in power. So I really commend Mr. President for taking the bold decision, because it gives him the insight, knowing the extent of which the suffering or the problems created are actually gone and how to tackle them. So the issue of border and so, because I had a caller that actually made mention of borders.
That was Comrade Fumi, yeah.
Yeah. So issue of borders, you know, to my own understanding, you would have to weigh the dangers to the benefits. If the dangers are more than the benefits, definitely I think it's better the borders are closed. So until proper ways are actually outlined and taken into effect before we can actually have a smooth running system.
Okay.
So, and also to comment on Shosani, and he has been a very good activist. And like I've seen the present administration in the direction of involving youth into the government, which is a very good one. That's like breeding the youth to take a good direction of good leadership. Because it will always be the youth who are in the power, but if you don't give them the chance to have the knowledge and the experience of how things are being done within the government system, there's no way they're going to have a proper way to handle the situations when they are given the chance. So that's my take.
Thank you very much, Hassan, for contributing it. Senator Sani, as Hassan went to the area of, and before him, Fumi, who had called in earlier, went to the area of border closure. There is a reason for all of that. You know, something that people are now talking about the coup belt in West Africa. This coincided, it was an unfortunate inheritance. First of all, there was the challenging inheritance of the economy that you had referred to earlier. Then, unfortunately, it was when he was elected the president, the chairman of ECOWAS, that all of this action is going on. So you might be able to, in your answer, sort of mop up this whole idea of the border closure and the quest for security and his performance as, you know, as the chairman of ECOWAS. You know, there was a lot of there are a lot of opinions on his position, sort of a zero tolerance for anything that was short of 100% democracy. Maybe you'd like to comment on all of that too, because that one is between our sub-region brothers and sisters and even internal security here.
Well, Nigeria's borders have been closed even before the military takeover in Niger Republic. And they were closed because the last administration felt that by closing the border, it will now give our own local farmers the opportunity to produce more so that we can be self-sufficient. And at the same time, by closing the border, it will checkmate human trafficking and infiltration by terrorists and terrorist groups from the western part of Africa. Well, all the two has not been achieved in the sense that closure of borders for almost 5 years under the Buhari administration has not made us self-sufficient. It has also not been able to prevent terrorists from coming to our country. You can see how they have destroyed states like some local government in Kaduna State, Zamfara, Katsina, parts of Sokoto State, Kebbi, and Niger State have all been under consistent terrorist attack for the last 5 to 6 years. So the closure of borders have not been able to make any impact as far as such things are concerned. But secondly, the military takeover of power in West Africa is something that should be condemned. As an activist, one who has fought military rule for many years, and I believe that the president was also part of that struggle. It is better for those people where military has taken over for them to fight their own battle. When the military took over power in Nigeria and remained in power for over 20 years, we mobilized people, we organized strikes, we organized civil disobedience campaign, and many of us were thrown to jail and spent so many years fighting to restore democracy, of which we did in 1999. So the people of Niger, the people of Mali, the people of Burkina Faso, Guinea, and Gabon should be allowed to fight their battle. If they want to have military rule, it is all left for them. If they want to fight it, they should all come and fight it, and not us laying our lives to go and free them. When we had our military regime, who invaded Nigeria to restore democratic order? We fought our causes, but as the chairman of ECOWAS, he has a responsibility to say that West Africa should be democratic, and that he should assert that as he has done, which I am fully in support of it. But where we differ was that attempt to use force to restore democratic order, because I know the consequences of it will be large on Nigeria. The West promised us support if we restore peace in Liberia and Sierra Leone in the 90s. We end up spending over $11 billion of our money, and over 2,000 of our soldiers were killed. I believe that if we have attempted to restore democratic order in Niger through the use of the military, it's simply going to be a war between Nigeria and Niger Republic, and a few African countries like Burkina Faso, like Cote d'Ivoire and Benin Republic, that are not going to provide any meaningful support. So that is the point of divergence. But I'm so glad the way he has handled the situation now, and I believe that...
I got to jump in. I'm so sorry. I got to do it again. Alhaji Dado in Minna has been waiting for quite a while. Good morning to you, Alhaji.
Yes. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you. Good morning. Please go ahead.
Yes. The real name is not that. My name is Alhaji Dabo, D-A-B-O, Alhaji Shehu Dabo.
Sorry, Alhaji. Sorry, Alhaji Dabo. Sorry, yeah. Alhaji Dabo. Thank you very much.
Alhaji Dabo, yeah. I'm calling from... That is my name.
Please go ahead. Correction taken. Alhaji Dabo.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure. I am calling from Mina, and I'm calling to commend the efforts of distinguished Senator Shehu Sani.
Please go on.
Yeah, I'm calling to, in fact, show my appreciation, because distinguished Senator Shehu Sani is from an opposition party, but he has chosen to come to talk objectively about the misgovernance of Tinubu or APC administration, which is well commendable. Because to say the fact is, don't mind your party, but what is going good in the country because of the belief you have of the country, you really comment or make good recommendation about this administration. And also, for those that are calling the senator to be in good times with RFI, we're not saying that is wrong, but the two cannot be the same. The two cannot be the same. One, Shehu Sani is not a liar. Whatever Shehu Sani is saying is objective in his life throughout. So you can say different. While RFI is dealing always is a liar.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You know,
wait, Alhaji Dabo.
Yeah.
Yes, please continue with a bit more reticence.
Yeah. So I still maintain my stand that I call for me to commend the effort of distinguished Senator Shehu Sani and to say more grace to his elbow. And in fact, I also pray and wish for Tinubu to succeed in his administration, to make this country better than he made it.
So, would you like to say a word or two about your impression, your assessment so far?
My assessment, as far as my concern, assessment is good. I can assess Tinubu as a pass mark as far. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Alhaji Dabo, calling in from Minna. Yes, just as Senator Sani has said, there's a lot of work that remains to be done. Things could have been done differently, according to Senator Shehu, but why, of course. And then you have said that you would give a pass mark so far. There are a lot of things to take into consideration. One, we're just talking about less than 150 days in office. It's Tinubu himself has said that his administration has inherited a very challenging, it's been a very challenging inheritance, but then he's not whimpering about it. He said that, as Senator Sani has reminded us, that he's owned up to that's what he came for, and that he was going to do his best to do so. Well, Senator Sani, we're almost done as far as time is concerned. It always flies. And we do appreciate the comments that you have. Would you like to, that you have already given, anything else to sort of, because I had to interrupt you, is there anything else you wanted to say so that we can say it now in the 1 minute or so?
I will say is that when these litigations are over, it is important that the president should extend his hands of friendship to the opposition political party, and then to see to Kwankwaso, to Obi, to Atiku, and all the SDP presidential candidates and others, and see how this country can unite and then move forward. And the last thing I will do is that in his own 10-point agenda, I want to see an amendment where sports will be given serious emphasis, because sports is as important as our natural resources, and it will go a long way in terms of bringing honor, dignity, and even investment to our country. That is my own little contribution.
Thank you very much, Senator Shehu Sani, human rights activist, politician, author, and playwright. It's been a delight having you. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's our program today. Join us on Monday for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
It's the Premier League all on DSTV. All the goals, all the clashes, all the moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka. All in the language of your choice. All in HD. Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Stay connected for all the action. Get DSTV with an HD decoder. Plus dish plus 1 month confirmed for 18,500 Naira. It's the Premier League. All on DSTV.
Our new toothpaste, Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection.
Why are we changing our toothpaste?
Because with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, I can be sure your teeth are cavity-free.
When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, its expert formula locks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavity. Colgate is the world's most chosen toothpaste.
Colgate locks calcium in,
keeps cavities out.
The new Colgate Mini Pack is now available at just 300 Naira.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone. Your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain? Not anymore. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the Contour Legacy Pillow, the patented, ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees, and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch, when you sleep on your side, your leg falls forward, twisting your pelvis and lower back, putting pressure on your spine, hip, and sciatic. But the Contour Legacy Pillow cushions your knees and cradles your legs, relieving stress on joints while restoring your lower back alignment. Sleeping on your side, your leg comes over and puts you out of alignment, causing lower back pain.